striper. Good eater right there.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We are making fish tacos tonight for dinner. Jeff went fishing and caught some stripers at Lake Mead, so we are gonna cook them up. We haven't had fish tacos in months, and it's kind of labor intensive, so we are gonna work together and get it done. I'm gonna make homemade tortillas. We like to put pineapple on it, and you'll see. But anyway, let's get to it.
It's the next day, we're back home. Got the fish all filleted up. Filleted them last night, they've been in the fridge. We're gonna do some fish tacos tonight with the striper we caught yesterday. So we're just gonna go ahead and prepare the meat and get it all ready to go for the fish tacos. We just kind of did a fillet last night, just filleted them and got the skin off of them. I'm gonna remove the bones to make it boneless, so there'll be no bones in this. I think they call these Y bones. They run right down this little line right here, and they only run about halfway down the fish. So remove those. We just cut right here. Just take this little sliver out. And now there's no more bones. I'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Take off this chunk right there. And now we're going to remove this, I don't know, I call it the brown meat, red meat. A lot of people call it like the blood meat. But we're just going to go ahead and remove all this red off here, this red meat off of here. It just makes the fish taste 100 times better, in my opinion. Some people, I guess, like it, but I do not. If you like fishy eating fish, then leave that on there and it'll make it taste fishy for sure. If you don't, take it off. It's going to taste good. So let's go ahead and take that off. And the way I do it, especially if I'm making fish tacos, I got them cut them small anyways. Let's go ahead and cut it right down there like that. Just kind of cut at an angle like that. Cut an angle just like that. So you could also, when you're skinning them, taking the skin off after you fillet them, if you just took your knife at an angle up a little bit instead of getting right on the skin, it'll take a lot of this off too, and you won't have so much to cut off. But I was in a hurry last night because it got late and it was dark, so I wanted to hurry up and get home. So I just, plus it was dark, I couldn't see, so I just did it real fast. Figured I'd cut it off today. About like that. So now there's no bones, none of that nasty red meat on there. It's going to make it taste fishy. And since we're doing fish tacos, we're just going to go ahead and cut them in pieces like that.
Beautiful.
Now you'll notice some fish, they got more of this red meat than other fish. Some of them don't really have much at all on them. And I've noticed some of the fish that people say that are better eaten than other fish are the ones that don't have it on there, don't have a whole lot on there to begin with, but I still cut it off. Another thing I do when I clean these fish, so when I cleaned it last night, I went ahead, I rinsed them off, but then I pat them dry and get all the water off them I can. You see they're still, I mean that's just from sitting in the bag in the fridge, but you try to get all the water you can get off of them. I notice, I think the water, it creates bacteria to grow if you leave a lot of water on them, even if you freeze them or put them in the fridge for a few days with a lot of water, or you freeze them with a lot of water on them. That's where you're going to get that real fishy taste too, because the bacteria start growing and make them taste bad. Water is no good. This is just all stuff that I've kind of learned throughout the years of doing this.
How many years? How many years you've been eating wild?
Eating wild fish and wild animals.
30 years?
30 years. Yes.
What was the first animal you killed and ate? Turkey?
Yep. That was a bad experience. Pretty about taking care of it. forgot to take out the, I don't know what you call it, the gusset or whatever it is, the thing in the chest that they store all their food. It was in the fall. We cooked it and cut into it. Thought it was a big piece of meat, and there's a bunch of grasshoppers. Cooked grasshoppers came out of it.
That wasn't Thanksgiving, was it?
No, it was not.
Good way to ruin Thanksgiving. Before you cut any kind of produce, you definitely want to make sure that you wash it with hot soapy water. For the pineapple, you're just going to cut off the top and cut off the bottom so that you have a stable cutting surface. And then just cut off the sides, and you're going to cut off any of that extra, like those little eyes. They can be kind of scratchy. You don't want to scratch your throat, so clean up some of that and you should be good to go. After you've cleaned it all up, just slice down the sides of the core. So we slice them up just like that and grill them, and then we put one slice on each taco. So we like to grill the pineapple because it just brings out more of a sweetness and flavor. I mean, pineapple's delicious anyway, but when you grill it, it just does something really special. You like that wall?
Yeah, I do.
Don't be like Humpty Dumpty.
Wow.
For these Baja style fish tacos, we like to use cabbage instead of lettuce. It gives it a really nice crunch. Cilantro isn't for everyone, but we love it, and for us it's a must. I just tear it off of the bunch and wash it, and then I just take the leaves off. We don't want the stems in there because they can be kind of tough and sometimes bitter. And of course, a few lime wedges. This is the sauce that we like to make to put on the fish tacos. I just take some sour cream, and you got to get Daisy because there's no kind of nasty, weird stuff in it. And then I get the Chipotle Tabasco. This stuff is delicious, but if you can't find the Tabasco brand, Cholula also makes a Chipotle hot sauce. And also I usually I sprinkle in a little bit of Chipotle seasoning, but I didn't have any this day, so, but anyway, I will leave a link in the description to my homemade Chipotle seasoning recipe. And then I just stir it up, and if I think it looks like it needs more, I'll put some more. I just go by the color. If I think the color looks good, and sometimes I'll taste it because it's really good. If we don't have this on the fish tacos, like if I forget it, you can always tell, and we're like, what did we forget? That smoky, it's like the smokiness. That's perfect right there. So we have our fish fry here, and I will leave a link in the description to the recipe for this. We used to use, what was it, Louisiana fish fry? Yeah. And then I got this recipe from a cookbook that I found at the library and it's really good. It's perfect. I usually use about a cup to a cup and a half of the fish fry, and then we do mustard water. You don't have to use the mustard, but the mustard does add a little bit of tang. The whole point of the water though is just to help the fish fry stick. Okay, so about like that, and then just a little bit of water. This is our fish fry station. We do it outside because we don't want the camper smelling like fish. We used coconut oil this time because it adds just really nice flavor to the fish. We use an electric skillet because we can really control the temperature, especially outside this day. It was kind of cool and windy, so we set it to 375 and we come out with perfectly golden brown, crispy fried fish. Sometimes you just have to take some help from the store, so it's canned refried beans tonight. Rosarita. These are pretty good, but I have homemade. Homemade is way better, so I'm going to link in the cards my homemade refried beans recipe. Also the rice too, I'll link that in the cards. I'm not going to show you guys how to make the rice again because I've already done that. Actually, I love canned refried beans.
They're not as good as yours. Not even close.
I agree. I just warm these beans up either in the oven at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes or in the microwave for just 5 minutes. So we're gonna make homemade tortillas. You have to do homemade tortillas at least once in your life. They're so easy, they're so good. It makes a huge difference. It's easy recipe, easy to make. So here we go. 3 cups of flour. And the biggest thing with the flour, if you do not measure the flour right, they're gonna be bad. They'll be tough. They'll be dry. So what you gotta do is fluff up the flour. Oh, and then when you scoop it, don't pack it down all crazy, and because that's going to be way too much flour. So you just want to fluff it up, kind of just barely scoop it and level it off. And we want 3 cups. Every time my husband makes them, that's how they are, because he don't know how to measure flour. Okay, 3 cups of flour. False.
That's no false, Dad.
Okay, then we need 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon baking powder. Mix that all up. And then you're gonna add a cup of warm water and 1/3 of a cup oil. I like to use lard, but they didn't have lard in the store today. All they had was a big giant tub of lard. And I don't want to store that much lard in here because it will go bad. So we're going to use vegetable oil. You can use coconut oil. That's actually really good. Coconut oil I've used, vegetable oil, and lard. But lard is my favorite. It just gives it some more flavor. Coconut oil does too, but sometimes you don't want coconut taste. Like with smothered burritos, you don't want coconut flavored tortillas. 1/3 of a cup vegetable oil. 1 cup warm water. Just mix it up. And then you're going to put it right out on the counter and knead the dough. Okay, so just kind of get it. I know that looks ragged, but it will all come together and be nice and smooth. So you don't need to flour your surface. You kind of don't want to do that. If you flour your surface, you could potentially add more flour to the dough, and you don't want that. You want the flour water and oil ratio to be perfect so that they don't come out dry and tough. And you can see it's kind of coming together, but I would prefer it to be much more smooth, so I just keep on going. And if your dough feels really stiff, then you use too much flour. You'll be able to know you messed up just by how the dough feels. It should be soft and pillowy.
Yep.
How does that dough feel?
Soft and pillowy. It won't be perfectly smooth like bread, because you're just gonna roll it out anyway, but. Okay, then you just let it rest, and you have to smack it. You gotta smack it. Like I'm smacking
a
butt.
goodie.
Okay, then just let it rest for about 5 minutes, and then I'll show you how to cut them and roll them and cook them. Okay, so now I'm just gonna divide them up, and this is how I do it. I just use a dough cutter, and I start by going in half.
If you were doing big tortillas, you'd just leave them in eighths.
Yes,
or-
exactly. If I was doing like burrito, I would just leave them like this, but we're making small taco size, so. And then I just roll them in a ball, like that, and then flatten it out. So I do all these, and then once they're all rolled up in a ball and flattened out, I cover them up with a towel. They'll just sit here for a little bit until I'm ready to cook them in the cast iron skillet. I will leave a link to the written recipe for these tortillas in the description bar below. I usually use a bigger skillet for these, but this is all I had. Or the Blackstone outside, but it was windy this day and they would have ended up all dry and horrible, so we didn't do that. As you can see here, you can see the little bubbles in the tortilla, and that's how you know that it is time to flip. Depending on how hot your skillet is, it's about 10 seconds per side. Okay, so I think this one is ready, and we're gonna take it out and put it in the tortilla warmer. And I will do my best to link this tortilla warmer. It's amazing. I bought this at a restaurant supply store online, but I think they have the exact same ones on Amazon. So if I find it, I will link it in the description for you. Good?
Amazing.
So fresh, huh?
Yeah.
This was our very first time ever trying striper. In Colorado, we have wiper, which is a cross, well, I guess it's a cross between like a white bass and a striper, but it is comparable, but this is just very meaty, absolutely delicious. This is probably the best hot sauce ever. Cholula red sauce is good, but Cholula green sauce, fire, amazing. It's so good.
The tacos.
So I bought this big container on Amazon. It's cheaper than buying the little bottles, and then we just fill this little bottle up. I will link that in the description below.
And honestly, if you live in a camper, you should not buy one this big. It takes up too much space.
Bulk buying is silly in a camper, but when it comes to green sauce, so now we'll show you how we put these guys together. We just take our tortillas and pick out a few pieces of fish that you like. Jeff likes to put 2. He makes his big, but I usually just put 1 piece of fish and then the chipotle sour cream, and then a piece of pineapple or 2 if you make big tacos like Jeff, and then the cabbage and a little cheese and the cilantro, and then a squeeze of lime if you like. I think Jeff forgot it here actually, but and then the sauce of your choice. You can put the green sauce on or leave it, but he loves it. I hope you guys liked this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Amazing.